What I like most about selling property is the people, like getting out to meet people and kind of, whether it's a family home that's been loved for many years and they want to sell it to the right person, whether it's someone who's, trying to sell it for a certain price that they need to move on to the next area. It's those human connections at the end of the day that kind of make it worthwhile, because if you're not going out meeting people day to day and, you're just clicking, buttons on a screen, there's not really any motivation for you as an agent, and there's not really any kind of enjoyment out of the role at the end of the day. So I suppose it's the human interactions, meeting people day to day, different kinds of people in different areas with different kind of motivations behind buying and selling. So I suppose if I was looking at it from a vendor's perspective and I was looking to get an estate agent on board, the first thing that's obviously going to attract your attention is going to be the reviews of how people view the company based on their experience with it, but also the price in terms of the fee that you're going to be paying. And I think in terms of reviews and fee, Auctioneera is unparalleled in that sense. So I suppose they're probably the things that I would feel a vendor would come for. But I think what they would be almost more impressed with after having gone through Auctioneera is their experience, the transparency, the feedback, the constant touch with agents and support from the team in the office as well. So my favourite part of the Auctioneera model in comparison with the traditional agent is, I suppose, it would be a mixture of the transparency that you're able to show for the vendors, the breakdown you give them after every viewing report, their account online, they'll be able to access information about kind of bidding history and previous viewing reports. But also, I suppose, one of the main things for me is when you're going out to meet a vendor who's in a very difficult situation where they don't want to be spending a huge amount of money on fees, particularly up front, whereas Auctioneera can offer a no sale, no fee option. So, people can have a go, they can try and sell a house for a price that they might need to move on to somewhere else. And ultimately, if it doesn't work out, it's not going to cost them an arm and a leg in fees. So I would say the most challenging aspect of my job day to day as an estate agent is probably managing expectations of vendors and buyers alike, because sometimes you'll meet a vendor who'll have a very specific expectation about what their property might be worth, based on sentimental reasons as much as anything else, and you have to respect that and try and do the best job you can for them at the end of the day. But ultimately it is the market that will dictate the value of the property, and then from a buyer's perspective, you'll often find a buyer who they've fallen in love with the house they really wanted, but they're just not meeting that expectation the vendor has in terms of the value. So I'd say that's probably the most challenging thing you deal with day to day. So my advice for someone considering selling a property would be, first thing, go out there, meet the agents, get a valuation on the property, try get a realistic grasp of what it might be worth in the open market, and keep in mind that ultimately it will be the market that will dictate the value. Any agent can tell you any price, but ultimately it's only worth whatever someone's willing to pay at the end of the day. Then in terms of getting the property ready for sale and preparing it for photography and viewings, the first thing obviously you can do is a good clean and declutter, because there's nothing more challenging than selling a house that's incredibly cluttered and hasn't had a proper clean and never really gave itself a chance on the market. So I think a clean and declutter is definitely the best place to start. And on top of that, if you can give the place a paint job, if it's something that it needs, can help brighten up the house. I don't think being an estate agent in Ireland anyway is as glamorous as it's maybe hyped up to be. Look, there's obviously certain levels of reward in terms of being able to help people and seeing some particularly impressive properties, but at the end of the day you have to fight just as hard for every vendor you have to get the best price you can, and ultimately it's their satisfaction that's going to give you that sense of reward at the end of the day.